making homemade Armenian bread. It's called Lavash. It's actually a multi-step process. What we're doing first is we're making what's called the old dough, which is actually kind of like a starter. We've got a quarter of a cup plus an extra dash, about a tablespoon of lukewarm water, a half a cup of all-purpose flour, and this is a quarter of a teaspoon of dry yeast. You see how it's beginning to form a paste. You can see that it's coming together very simply. We are going to put it into a small bowl that's already been coated with a little bit of oil. Now we're going to cover this with a light cloth. You could also use some plastic wrap, but I'm using a light cloth. And it'll sit out for that hour to an hour and a half covered. And now, as we've begun to get that in there, now we're going to start adding the flour in. And you can see that it's beginning to get that sort of crumbly texture. Start to use our hands a little bit more. We're going to now get the dough to rest in this bowl, covered with a kitchen towel, just at room temperature for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to come back and do our first kneading. This is the first step in sort of kneading the dough. Now what we're going to do is we're going to coat this with a little bit of oil, and again, make sure you're using a neutral oil. There it is, ready to go into the refrigerator. We actually put this in the refrigerator overnight, and then we brought it out this morning and I let it come to room temperature for about 2 hours before I started work with it. You can see that it has expanded considerably. So here's our dough. I want to give it a little bit of a knead, just a slight knead. Okay, we're going to form it up into a ball here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to portion the dough into equal portions that can be worked with. I've oiled down this cookie sheet. Once these guys are in there, we're going to let them rise again, one more time, sort of have an opportunity for the yeast to do its work. Okay, we're back, and we've had our portions. If you recall, we had about 8 portions, and as you can see now, they have risen considerably. We never really discussed how we were going to cook these. There were a variety of different ways to cook them, but I like to do it over an open fire. So the first thing you do is you take each round and you sort of make a circle out of it and sort of begin to spread it out with your hands. And then this is when you start with your pin. You're going to make sure the pin is dry using some of that. What you want to do is you want to get this as thin as you possibly can. This is how thin you want it to be so that it can drape over the pin. You see that? Now, got a nice beautiful roaring fire going there. Doesn't take long to cook these, as you can imagine. Goes onto the fire. Now it'll begin to react to the fire in about 15 or 20 seconds. You can begin to see how the bubbles are forming. That's telling you that it's cooking. Oh, that's looking really great. You don't want to have it on there for too long, but you can see already it's sliding on the grill because it's cooked on the bottom. And you want a little bit of char. Now you see when you turn it on the other side, the bubbles form on this side. And there you go. See how thin it is, and you see how light, and those wonderful bubbles, that perfect jarring. That's what you're looking for. So when we're all done baking our bread, we've got quite a bit of portions here to do for our lovely evening on the patio dinner of traditional Mediterranean mezza and grilled chicken. Thanks.